I am the lead instructor here in the Writing Center, and I'm going to take about 30 minutes of your time to tell you about how to prepare for a tutoring session. I assume that all of you have to get tutoring, if not this semester, then in future semesters. And the information that I'm going to give to you today will help make your sessions more productive, I think. And when you go in, you'll know what to expect, and you'll be ready for the session. And if you're ready, then the tutor can help you immediately, and you can get the most out of your tutoring session. I'm happy to say that I had very little to do with the production of this presentation. The tutors, in fact, helped design the presentation. What I did was they had expressed an interest in or a desire for a workshop on helping students be more prepared for tutoring sessions. And so I said, great. So I went in and I sat down and I talked with them and I took notes of their ideas. I put it together in the presentation, and then they took a look at it. They helped me refine it. And so really, I'm just the deliverer of the news. The tutors themselves, these are the words of the tutors who work in the tutoring room. This is what they want students to know. And so I'm happy to be the one to deliver that presentation. Okay. All right, so today my goal is to, first of all, introduce you to our tutoring program, to tell you a little bit about what we do. Number two, to help you prepare for your first tutoring session, and then also to give you some suggestions for maximizing your time so that when you come in, you don't spend 15 minutes or 10 minutes looking for your assignment or trying to remember what your assignment is about or trying to find your materials. You will already know what you need to bring when you come to a session, and you can get in and get started and get to work. Okay. All right, so the goal of the tutoring program is to make you a better writer. We're not here to correct your papers. We're not a dry cleaning service, where you drop off your dirty shirt and the next day you pick it up and it's nice and clean and ready to go. That's not what we do. Our goal is to help you be a better writer. And so we spend 30 minutes with you, one-on-one, working on whatever you've brought in for us to take a look at. We help students enrolled in English classes, reading classes, and ESL classes, as well as students in English 85 and 885. They are a couple of modular classes we have. Okay. So just a little bit about what to expect in a tutoring session. The sessions are 30 minutes long. Students are allowed one session per day and a minimum of two, or a maximum of 2 per week. If you are a DSP&S student, you may be eligible for more. You can ask at our reception desk for details about that. But normally, students are allowed 1 session per day and 2 per week. That's really quite a lot of time. That's an hour a week with tutoring for as many weeks as you'd like to. There's no limit on the number of weeks. You can get tutoring every single week if you'd like to. You can drop in and see us whenever you need to. Okay, so how do you make your first session productive? Okay. First of all, student ID card is required to make an appointment, and appointments can only be made in person. We don't allow you to call and make an appointment. There is one little exception to that rule. If you've made an appointment and our tutor calls in sick that day, we'll call you and let you know and let you reschedule over the phone. But to make an initial appointment, you do need to be here in person. The reception desk is the desk you passed coming in. It's all the way at the front of the center or the opposite side of the room. And student ID card is required to make your appointment. What you'll do when you come in for your appointment, if you have, say, a 10:30 appointment, I would get here about 10 minutes beforehand. You'll need your student ID card when you come in. You never know if there's going to be a line at the kiosk or not. So what you'll do is you'll come in, you'll log in with your student ID card at our kiosk. Then you'll turn around and you'll talk to the receptionist and you'll say, hi, I'm here for my 10:30 appointment. My name is so-and-so. You can also present the copy of the tutoring slip that you'll be given when you make your appointment. You can say, here's my slip. I have a 10:30 appointment. The receptionist will check you in and show you back to the tutoring room. Make sure that when you are finished with your tutoring session, if you'd like to make another appointment, you stop at reception and visit the reception desk and make your next appointment. And then you need to log out. Swipe your card and log out when your tutoring session is done. If you don't log out, none of that time will be counted toward your 18-hour lab requirement. So you want to make sure that you remember to log in and out on that day. Okay? And always, always check in with the receptionist. Let the receptionist know that you're here, and the receptionist will show you back and let you know, okay, your tutor's working with someone right now, but have a seat. Okay? So we have a little waiting area in the tutoring room. Okay? Any questions about this so far? So far? Okay. All right, so the tutors, what will they help you do? Well, they will help you generate ideas. So if you come in with your paper prompt and you don't quite know where to go, the tutor is happy to act as kind of a sounding board. You can bounce ideas off the tutor. The tutor will ask you questions about the assignment and have a dialogue with you. They love doing that. That's probably one of the more favorite things that they have to do, helping you and talking to you about your assignments. Please make sure you always bring your paper's prompt or an assignment, any written instructions from your instructor. That way your tutor can help you clarify the purpose of your paper, what it is you're being asked to do. I had a story related to me by one of the tutors. She said that a student had come in and they had worked over several sessions on this paper. They polished it. They both felt really good about it. And the student went and turned the paper in, and later on the student came back and was devastated. She had gotten an F on the paper. She couldn't figure out why. Well, when the tutor took a look at the paper prompt and at the student's paper and at the comments from the instructor, the tutor realized why. The instructor had written, "This is a great narrative paper, but I asked you to write a contrast paper." Okay? So it really helps for the tutor to be able to see what it is you're being asked to do and to get it straight from the instructor via the paper prompt or the assignment. It's always a little more difficult if the student says, "Oh, I don't have the prompt, but here's what I think my teacher wants me to do." We like to hear it straight from the instructor, and we use the paper prompt for that. Okay? We will also help you analyze choices for arranging or organizing your paper. You can come in and say, I've got these 3 body paragraphs. This is the order that I've put them down. This is what my thesis is. Do you think that this is the best way to put these things together? And the tutor will read it and offer you suggestions, ask you some questions about what you are intending to do, and help you decide if that is the best order for the items, the paragraphs, the ideas in your paper. Okay? We'll definitely read. We read as readers, so we'll definitely help you make your writing more clear. We'll help you identify writing problems. If you've got problems, say, with grammar, the tutor is not going to go through and just correct all your grammar, but the tutor will read and say, it looks like I'm noticing some problems with commas in your paper. Do you know how to use a comma? Well, let me show you where you can find some resources to teach you about commas. I'm going to show you how to correct these 2 sentences, and then we'll let you correct the next 2 together. So instead of just correcting it and sending you on your way, we're going to teach you how to make the corrections yourself so that you can then start to do that on your own in the future. Okay? We'll help you learn how to use sources. If you don't know how to use the library's LAMP system, if you're confused about how your textbook is organized, or you've got some supplemental materials and you're not sure how to use them or what to do with them, we'll help you with that. We'll show you how to use the reference books that we have here in the center, how to use reference websites that you may not know about. Okay? We'll also help you be a more confident writer, and I think all of these ideas, once you've started learning how to identify your own errors and identify the areas where you have trouble, and you can start working around them or working with them and fixing those errors, it definitely makes you a more confident writer. When you can say, gee, I didn't know how to use commas before, and now I can at least spot these couple of comma errors that I usually make, I think it helps a great deal. I once had someone tell me that a tutor's job is to put him or herself out of business. Not really. I mean, we want to continue to help students, but we don't want you to become dependent on us. We want to teach you how to make the changes in your own papers so that in the future you don't need us anymore. Okay? That's not to say we don't love you all, but we want you to learn how to write and be better writers on your own. Okay? Any questions about this? Okay. All right, very good. Here are some things we won't do, and that's listed on the pink handout that I've given you. We're not going to just correct your paper. So when you come into the Writing Center and you sit down to work with a tutor, please don't say, can you proofread this for me? Or can you fix my paper? Or can you correct my paper? I'll give you some tips for language to use in just a little while. We won't tell you what to write about. We want the ideas to come from you. If you come to us with an idea and say, here's what I'm thinking about writing about, we'll ask you questions and help you clarify your thoughts, but we'll never tell you what to write about. We'll never give you a grade. Okay? The tutors are instructed very specifically never ever to tell a student what a grade might be or what they think the paper deserves. Nothing like that, so don't ask the tutors that. Tutors will not type your paper for you. You have to do that on your own. We don't work, unfortunately, on non-course work, so your work has to be English, ESL, or reading related in order for the tutors to work on it with you. They don't fill out worksheets for you, but they will definitely help you if you have a worksheet to fill out. What usually happens is you've got a worksheet with 10 questions on it. The tutor will probably sit down and work the first one or two with you, and then ask you, okay, on number 3, what do you think the answer is? And then let you do some on your own and then go back and check them. So we try to help you be as independent as possible while helping you. Okay. And if you show up just before a paper is due, and it happens a lot, unfortunately, if you show up, and you say my paper's due in an hour, or if it's due in half an hour, there's really not a whole lot we can do. There aren't a whole lot of changes that can be made. So you want to schedule your tutoring appointments in advance so that you have time to take the suggestions of the tutor and do some writing and work with it, and maybe come back and see a tutor a second time. But at least you want to be able to incorporate the changes and the recommendations of the tutor. You don't want that to be something that you don't even have time to do because the paper is due. Okay, when you come for your tutoring session, please bring as many of these things as you have available. Okay, your prompt or your assignment, that's the number one most important thing for you to bring. Like I said before, if we don't know what exactly it is you're working on, it's really hard for us to get the session started off right and to help you out. Okay? Your textbook, especially if you're writing about something that you've just covered in the book, we might want to take a look at the textbook and see what exactly the chapter you've just read covers, so we can help you according to what the book says. Okay? Any handbooks or any additional readings, if those are appropriate for what you're going to be covering. Okay? Any notes or rough draft that you have, even if you've just got a few ideas jotted down on a scrap of paper, bring those. We can help you work with those. Okay? I know it's kind of early in the semester right now, but as the semester moves forward, any previously graded papers, always really helpful for us to see the kinds of things that you're getting marked down for and the kinds of comments your instructor is making, so that we can focus the 30-minute session on those things. If you come in and say, I just want you to take a look and see how my transitions look, if transitions aren't your problem, then your time spent in the center is kind of a waste. So we want you to get the most out of your session, and having us look at papers is very helpful. It helps us really guide the session toward what you need most. And then always bring any questions you have. Gee, can you take a look at my thesis? I'm not sure if my thesis sounds right, or I'm not sure if my thesis matches the prompt that my instructor has given me. How does my conclusion sound? Does it wrap everything up? How do my body paragraphs sound? Specific questions about specific areas in your paper are always really helpful. The sessions where a student just comes in and says, here, can you take a look and see how my paper flows? Those always take a little bit of time and questioning by the tutor to find out what the student really wants. But if you can say, you know what, I'd like to work on my thesis and my conclusion today, awesome. We've now got a very definite direction, and we can get a lot done then in 30 minutes. But if we spend 10 of those 30 minutes just kind of fishing to see what you want, that really only leaves 20 minutes for your session. And you want to get the most out of the time that you spend. Any questions so far? Okay. All right. All right, you also have to bring a good attitude when you come to tutoring. You want to have a realistic plan. Okay, you're not going to go from a few ideas jotted down on a scrap of paper to a polished draft in a 30-minute session. So you have to be realistic about what you'd like to accomplish. That's why having specific questions in mind can be really helpful. You say, I want to, by the end of my 30-minute session with the tutor, I want to have a better thesis and an idea of which way to go with my conclusion. That's workable. Okay, so if you can come in and say, I want to work on my thesis and my conclusion, that's something that we can do and that we can help you with. So be realistic about what can and cannot be accomplished in 30 minutes. 30 minutes seems like a long time, like you can do a lot, but you'd be surprised at how quickly the session goes, especially when you're involved and talking to the tutor and working. Okay. Come with a good attitude. You know, honestly, the tutors all love what they do. They all have a passion for helping people. Many of them want to go into teaching as a profession, and so their passion is helping you. They want to help you. They're here to help you, and they get excited talking about writing. You know, ask them a question and they get really excited about it. So their attitudes are good. They're excited about it. Come in with the same kind of attitude. Know too that they're not going to be judgmental about you. You may think you're the worst writer on the planet, but I guarantee you are not. They've seen papers that would probably make your hair stand on end. They've seen a lot. They've worked with situations that may seem to you impossible to them. They've seen it a million times, so they know how to work it with certain situations, certain paper topics, that kind of thing. So they're here to help. They really want to help. They like helping. And know that. Don't be afraid when you come in. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be shy. They're here to help you, and they should be very warm and welcoming and friendly to you. Okay? And also be willing to work. Know that the tutor is not going to do the work for you, that you'll be expected to participate, to ask questions, to answer questions, to offer suggestions. We always want our sessions to be collaborative, a sharing process, a conversation between you and the tutor. And so, you know, don't plan on just sitting like a bump on a log. Remember too, finally, if you come in at the last minute, there isn't going to be any time to revise. So plan ahead, plan accordingly. Okay? So a few things now to help you maximize your time with a tutor. If you are in English 60A or B, and I know I don't think any of you are, so I'll just kind of breeze through this. But we do help with grammar worksheets. We'll help you complete exercises in a workbook, but we do expect that the tutoring sessions will be interactive. We'll probably work through a couple items on a worksheet with you and then let you do the rest on your own, or do a handful on your own and then take a look and then let you do a few more on your own and then review. Okay, so we're not going to do the work for you. We're also going to help you learn how to use the resources that you have better. A lot of students have trouble figuring out how to use the textbook and how to use online resources, so we can help you with that so you can find the answers yourself. And having specific questions will always be helpful, even with grammar. You know, if you say, gee, we've got 8 comma rules that we've gone over, and I can't figure them out. Can you help me with that? We'd be happy to help. Okay? If you have an idea, but you've got nothing written, and I think that's more relevant to those of you in here because you're in 1A, 1B classes. If you've got an idea, but you've got nothing written, please bring the prompt. We want to know what you're writing about. Bring any notes or ideas that you've jotted down. Even if you haven't written anything down, take a few minutes before the session. You know, get here 10 minutes early, like I said, check in, and then sit in our waiting area and jot down a few ideas before you get started with the tutor. Anything you've got is always better than having nothing. It's always a little easier to work with than having nothing. Okay? Please don't be embarrassed by incomplete ideas. Like I said, the tutors have seen it all, and you should not be embarrassed. Even if you trail off in mid-sentence, the tutor isn't going to think anything of it. And so don't be embarrassed of that. And if you have to, let's see, I can't even read what that says. If you have to write about something that you've read, please make sure you bring the reading with you also. So if your instructor's given you a short story or you know, an excerpt to read, please bring it with you and any notes that you've taken on that document too. That way the tutor can refer to it during the session. All right, again, if you've got an idea but nothing written, Please ask your professor if there's anything in the prompt that you're unsure about. We can't read your instructor's mind. We never try to. That's another thing that the tutors are taught. If there's something in the prompt that you don't know about or that you don't understand, please see your instructor first. But please give yourself time to think and write, and to see a tutor with plenty of time to make your revisions. Okay. Some definitions too that it might be helpful for you to know about. Revision is literally a re-seeing of your draft. That is what we are here to help with in the Writing Center. Okay? So if you come in and ask for help, you're asking for help in the revision stage. If you say, I need help revising my paper, you'll see the tutor go, all right, what do you want to work on? If you come in and ask the tutor to proofread, you'll probably see the tutor go, oh, I'm sorry, we don't do that here. Okay? So it helps to know the language to use. Revision is looking at the big picture, global things like organization. Is my paper organized like an argument paper should? Do I have enough reasons? Do I have enough support? Is my research in there correctly? Okay? Editing, looking at the sentences, seeing how they flow, looking at transitions, that's something that we will help with. Just make sure you're asking for specifically what you want. Do I have enough transitions? Do the transitions that I have work? Do I have fragments and run-ons that make my paper unclear? All of these things are editing type issues. And then proofreading is just the surface level stuff, the stuff you can glance at and see, like margins. Are my margins too wide, not wide enough? Do I have my title? Is it centered? Have I spelled my professor's name right? Have I spelled my own name right? Do I have any glaring errors? I copied and pasted a sentence from one part of the paper to another, but I forgot to cut it out of the first part where I moved it to. So have I left in a duplicate sentence? Do I have any very obvious typos or anything like that? Okay? So this is really what we're not here to help you with. You should be able to see if your professor's name is spelled correctly, and when you're copying and pasting in your paper, you should be able to see that you need to delete it from one place and move it to another. So those kinds of things we won't help with, but here really the global issues, the organizational issues, and the sentence level stuff we definitely can help with. If you've got a rough draft, we will definitely help you with revising. Before you come, the tutors recommend that you try to revise on your own first. Catch as many things as you can, put question marks by anything that you have a question about, and then bring it into the session and say, you know what, I did some proofreading before I got here. I was wondering about this sentence and this sentence. Can you take a look at those for me? And we'll say definitely yes. Okay? Always come with specific questions. Like I had said, look at my thesis and my conclusion. These are the areas where I'm struggling. Okay? And then again, remember that tutoring is interactive. You have to participate if you hope to get any benefit. And then if you have a draft that you're calling your final draft, which of course it won't be, but you think it's pretty polished, make sure it's not really the draft that you're going to turn in. We're going to want to write on your paper. We're going to ask you questions and make notes, so make sure that it's not actually the paper that you're turning in. Or you can bring an electronic copy on a flash drive. We do have 2 computers in the tutoring room, so you can bring a copy electronically, and you will do the typing. The tutor won't sit there. But you can do the typing while you speak with the tutor. Okay. And finally, tutors are going to help with just 1 or 2 things. We're not going to try to cram everything that needs work in your paper into a single session. You'd get fried, you'd get burnout. The tutors would probably go crazy trying to explain everything so quickly. So we'll probably work with 1 or 2 things with you. We're not a proofreading service. Please remember that. You're probably a better proofreader of your own work once we help you anyway. And always remember, and I know a lot of people think this, tutoring is not for stupid people, right? Everybody needs someone to look at their papers. Even professional writers have editors, they're on a newspaper, and book writers. All of those folks have multiple people who look at drafts of their work. So tutoring is really for people who want to improve, who want to learn, who want their papers to be well written, and people who want to learn how to be better writers and better reviewers and editors of their own work.